SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
I just want you to know it's not your fault. I don't know why. I walked into work today with this sign that says, "I'm a child of divorce," and on the back it says, "It's not your fault." I think that's Christina from our sales team, who has got a pretty dark sense of humor.
But what's
she
great
likes
about
making crafts.
but you don't know. It was just there.
It was just there. It was
For all
just
we know,
there.
someone broke in and just left it.
Yeah. Honestly, could have been. There's no wind coming in from our windows, so I'm assuming.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe it's just not windy today.
Hey, I want to let you know that the Kingston Frontenac sales packages went online Friday, and a bunch of them sold like instantly right away. So we do want to let you know Sunday, December 8th is the Kingston Frontenac's SDP takeover game, and we're taking over the Sarnia Sting.
Taking them over.
There's a pregame skate bundle. There's a game and podcast bundle. We're going to be at the Caesar Company. It's going to be awesome. And Steve will be selling and signing copies of his book on site at, that's right, Slush Puppy Place, because they changed the name this year officially. And for the live show afterwards, what we're going to do, Jacob Battaglia, 2024 Calgary Flames second round pick, top 10 in the OHL points race right now. Tickets are on sale in the Frontenac shop, or you can check out the link in the description, whether it's audio or video, you got it there. So there's that, and there's also something else in the description. There's also something else.
Oh, your mustache.
Space.
What do we think? It's had a weekend of bush.
Every day, it's better.
You like it?
Are you doing like any maintenance on
Nothing.
it at all?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I tried to shave it today. It's a little unbalanced, but I'm trying to make sure it's even. But like, I'm not good at it. Like it's
I know what you mean.
yeah,
I understand.
It's a little to the left at the moment, I think. But
That's okay.
yeah.
You just smirked that way.
It's always okay if it hangs a little to the left.
Yeah, is it all right? Are we okay with that?
No
know
one's
what?
going to judge.
So listen, I am painfully behind on donations for my Movember page.
I told you I would donate $100, and then I haven't done it yet.
And
I need to do it.
Classics.
I know that is the classic Steve.
so I need your help. If you got an extra $2.
It's the 18th of November.
I know, but
Is
like
it?
that's
Yeah.
how painfully behind I am.
Wow. Oops.
I think I'm capable of better than this, is my point.
You know what? I think your friends are capable of better than this. You included. All right?
So if you could donate a few bucks, we're not talking huge money here. We're talking like a couple bucks. It just goes to men's mental health, men's physical health, clearly. We had a great interview with Craig German, who was on last week and had the Felix Potvin lovin' with Steve.
And even though it was after the Easter Seals tournament, he donated to my Easter Seals team. So we got to repay the favor. We got to repay the favor.
I love that.
Good guy, good cause. Let's get it in.
Now, to start the show, we have some unfortunate news. And that is, according to
The book tour has expanded.
Oh, do you want us to continue that? Do you want to do this?
Steve wants to do more promotions. He sent me his new tour dates.
Oh, okay.
So, Maddie, if you want to bring that up,
Sorry about
there
that.
is Steve's new
That's
tour
my
dates
fault.
poster.
I had to get
Hey,
ahead
he
of
didn't
you.
tell anybody he was going to do this.
Oh,
so.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
Adam,
I
this
didn't-
isn't your fault.
This is not okay.
Hold up your sign. Hold up your sign.
Hold it up.
Yeah, Adam has a sign. It says, it's not your
you
fault.
is me.
No,
Yes.
now here, wait. Let me hold it.
Uh-huh.
There.
It's your fault.
It's your fault.
Oh, no. Give me this one. Give me this one. I got one.
I'm
I'm
a divorce. I'm a child. I love that.
All right, Maddie, let's bring up those new tour dates because a couple of them are this weekend on the east coast of Canada, don't you know?
Goodness gracious, do we have so much going on. November 22nd, 7 p.m.
Parking lot, Halifax.
No! Indigo, Halifax. I do have the where is it? No, that's the thing it's Chain Lake Drive.
Okay. Yeah, the Indigo in Halifax. Move
Yes.
on. Next one.
Dartmouth the next day,
The 23rd.
Yep.
23rd
At 2 p.m.
in the afternoon. This was like a big thing, like a big deal that they're really proud of because there's a big bridge in Halifax. And Adam, you know about this.
Yep.
Or rather, it connects Halifax to Dartmouth. And people don't like to cross the bridge.
Well, there's the McDonald and the Mackenzie, I
yes.
believe. Yeah, there's two of them.
Well, whichever bridge it is. Apparently, people don't like to cross the bridge, like Ottawa and Gatineau.
Right.
You don't want to cross the bridge. It's a pain in the ass. So we got one for Halifax and one for Dartmouth. 22nd and 23rd, Friday and Saturday. Toronto Eaton Center, November 30th. That's
McKay.
at 2.
It's McKay Bridge. Sorry.
Got it. Next day after Eaton Center, Barrie, December 1st, 2 p.m. A Tuesday afternoon at noon, December 3rd, First Canadian Place, right by the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
And then here are the 3 new ones, or rather 4 new ones. Ottawa, December 7th at 2 p.m., Indigo Pinecrest. I don't think I've ever been to that one. I was at Rideau Center, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to go back there. And then someone had to reliably tell me that it is no longer there. December 8th, Kingston Frontenacs. That's our event. I didn't know we were going to have a bookseller for that. We do! Hooray! St. Catharines. I'm coming back. It wasn't enough last time. I need more of you. I need it in my life. December 14th at 2 p.m. and then Burlington the next day, December 15th at 1 p.m. I requested it that it be at 1 instead of 2 because the Leafs play against the Buffalo Sabres at 5 o'clock.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, so I need to skedaddle home after that and shoot.
You're gonna miss the Leafs game on the 7th to do your stream because you're going to be in Ottawa. Are you gonna do the stream from Ottawa?
I
You got to do the stream from
have not
That'd be cool.
decided.
Okay, just set up in your hotel. Just set up your little USB mic, and you can do the stream from there.
There's a greater than 0 chance I simply just commandeer Julian's place
Oh, that'd be fun.
for a night. I just go, hey, I need your internet and computer and to annoy all your neighbors. And I'll figure it out.
Okay, or just like hand it off to Adam or I.
Yeah.
I could do that. Well, the St. Catharines one, I think I have to do that.
Yeah.
The 14th?
Well, we
The
can figure that
14th.
out at a different time.
No, I'm just
No, right now.
talking.
This is good.
Chit chatting.
This is good. Where's the "it's your fault" sign?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's
No, no. it's
December
fine.
7th is coming up. You know, it's
fast.
It's the 18th, as Adam doesn't know.
That's
Because
listen.
he hasn't been doing Movember
What day is
campaigning.
it? What day is it ever, really? Okay, so can we get to the hockey part?
Yes.
Okay, the hockey part is Calle.
It's a hockey book.
Calle Jarnkrok had surgery today. He is out month to month. It looks like it's a groin and also
Sports hernia.
The sports hernia one, which is really yucky if you've known anybody that's gone through it. And it's like the surgery itself is really a lot more invasive than you'd think.
You ever see a video? Well, more often this is happening. I need to use Twitter less. There's no warning for the video, and there should be.
Yeah.
It's just bug, jump scare. You ever seen the one of the dude with a huge sports hernia coughing?
Oh.
No.
I don't want to know what that looks like.
Yep. Nope. Me neither. So yeah, we're not going to see Calle anytime soon.
Can I-
month to month?
Can I read to you what a sports hernia is?
Oh, no.
It's a painful soft tissue injury that occurs in the groin area, often due to intense twisting movements, which makes sense for hockey players. Unlike a traditional hernia, where an organ pushes through the abdominal wall or into another part of the body, a sports hernia does not involve an actual herniation or visible bulge. It typically involves a tear or strain in the muscles, tendons, or ligaments of the lower abdomen or groin, especially where the abdominal muscles attach to the pelvis. This injury is common among athletes in sports that require sudden changes in direction, twisting motions, or repetitive stress, like soccer, hockey, football, and tennis. Symptoms include groin pain during activity that improves with rest but may become chronic if left untreated.
So his two
it sounds like it was
injuries are related then.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Yucky.
That would make sense because it looked like, well, he played in the preseason, and I thought he looked okay.
How much preseason did you
Not a lot, but like he got in at least one game. It got to the point where you're like, okay, there's definitely setbacks here. Something's going on, and I mean, month to month, like whatever that means. You know what I mean? He could be back in February. He could be back before the playoffs. He could be done for the season.
Could be Mark Stone's music. You just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he only got into one preseason game.
Yeah, he did play though.
Yeah, he was a -1 in one game, it looks like here. There you go.
Well, they saw that dash and they're like, go under the knife.
You've been a real big plus-minus advocate lately. So
I know. That needs to stop. That needs to stop, and I'm sorry. This is my formal apology.
So, Leafs in Edmonton, Saturday night.
Hell yeah.
Connor McDavid
Hell
had already gotten his 1,000th point.
Good.
But as Steve rightly pointed out on the LFR, he would have got it too on Saturday had he not got it versus Nashville.
With a goal.
Banger. Classic game.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Good stuff.
I remember thinking midway through the third, I'm like, listen, however this goes, this was a great game.
Listen, MVP on this one, producer Drew, that LFR was over half an hour long.
It was good.
Dude, I had no idea. I had no idea that I talked that long. But that video is, that game, the structure of it, right in my wheelhouse. That is a perfect Saturday night. All Canadian matchup. Big names, storylines, lead changes, dramatic game late, controversy, overtime. Yeah, into my veins. That's the good stuff. Perfect structure. I feel really bad for Darnell Nurse. I feel really bad. Like, it's definitely a enormous blemish on the game.
Yeah, and we'll talk about all that. I think
unreal game.
You know what? Why don't we go with that first? Because
Yeah.
that is the ugly incident. Ryan Reaves has been suspended 5 games.
Yep.
The NHL sure got on that quick, and it's one of those suspensions where everybody's like, yeah, that seems about right. Could have been less, could have been more, but I saw that. I was like, yeah, it's probably 5 games, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what 5 games looks like.
It's one of the first times I've ever seen something without seeing the replay and been like, well, that's 5.
Yeah.
Because it just worked out perfectly where Nurse is coming behind the net and the camera had switched to the one in the corner. Reaves flies in from off screen and you could tell it's all head. Jesse, do you have that picture that I sent this morning?
And
It's
I
in the
can
text
get
chat
it.
if you can get it.
Yeah,
It's a nasty one.
It's,
I want that.
it's crazy. It illustrates how flush to the head it was. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe Darnell Nurse, I called him Nick in the video.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, oh, well,
Yeah, where did that come from?
heat of the moment.
I don't know. There's a few prominent people in sports named Nurse, and I said the wrong one. This is crazy. This is one of the craziest sports photos I've ever seen. Look at Nurse's his skates are facing perfectly towards the Leafs end. His face, his nose are looking behind him. He's like an owl.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read anywhere that he's been diagnosed with anything. Like, they haven't said what his injury is. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, the concussion seemed obvious. There's no way he doesn't have a neck injury. There's no way. This is the most flush I've seen a player get hit in the head in a long time. I don't think Reaves meant to do it. And I think we really need to reset how we talk about these incidences. Because, was there intent from Reaves to hit Nurse in the head? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And even if you do think so, you can't prove it. Should Nurse have had his head up? Yes. You can't lay this hits. You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
If you're lower, you can.
If you're lower, you can. The vast majority of people I saw were very reasonable about this, but there's a few stragglers, like there's always going to be. Keep your head up is good advice, because sometimes people are they're going to hit you illegally. It's great advice.
Yep.
But no reputable league is going to be like, well, because you forgot to keep your head up on this play, it's just okay to fucking take your head off.
It's crash avoidance, but in the responsibility is always the one that lays it, right? Yeah. Like the one that lays the hit is the one that is responsible. And I think the NHL looked at it like that. I think most people, unless you're a lunatic, like really, unless you're one of those people on Twitter that's trying to farm engagement and you're just I'm going to do this, hit send.
Yeah, just an ass.
I think we all kind of get that. And I think, Reaves went right to the dressing room afterwards, apologized.
Yeah.
And
he's not a monster.
Well, of course not. And I think at the end of the day, NHL is a small community. Reaves was on the ice, and they said it on the broadcast. He was on the ice. The Oilers, I believe, had just scored. You're trying to bring some energy, and you're trying to be a factor in the game. And
he hasn't
Ryan's
thrown
got like one or two ways he can do that, and he's not doing one of them. He hasn't fought this year.
Yeah. He hasn't thrown a hit like that like in a while.
Yeah.
Like he's heavy on the boards. And his main focus as a Leaf this year, and this is what's kept him in the lineup, is Berube inserts that line into the offensive zone. They rarely have to get it there. It's just already there. And he keeps it in there. And he does a good job of that, but like, holy
Jesse,
shit. That's one of the craziest sports photos I've ever seen.
Jesse, you were at the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was the reaction in the arena?
It was silence. It was like you could hear a pin drop when the hit happened, because you could see how hard Nurse hit the ice, and there was like serious concern, I think, amongst all 19,000 people there that something was like the stretcher was going to come out because it looked that bad in real time. And initially, like personally, I was really upset that Ryan Reaves laid the hit, because I thought the fourth line this season has been so good for the Leafs that with him on it, not even when he swapped out, and I know they mix it up sometimes, but he's been very good there, and I thought he's been great. And then to see him go there, and initially in real time, it looked so dirty. It looked intentional. It looked like he was trying to take this man's head off, because he made such clear contact with the head. It was perfectly square to Darnell Nurse's head. Yeah. And in real time, it felt targeted and dirty and awful. And it looked like he was trying to end this man's career. And I was pissed, because I was like, what are you doing? You're having such a good time this season, not fighting, but being effective fourth liner. Yeah. Why are you wasting your career with this nonsense? But then afterwards, Darnell Nurse gets up and gets a round of applause from the benches, from the crowd, which that's what you want in that moment. You just want the guy to skate off, not under his own power, but at least with the help, and not have the stretcher roll out, which was great. And then you see the replays and you're like, okay, Ryan Reaves expected Darnell Nurse to come around the boards and not come out behind the net, and that's where he was going to hit him, is what I took away from that, and some of the commentary around it, is that he didn't expect Nurse to be this far up the ice.
So a sharper turn?
Exactly. No, a longer turn. Longer turn, like around the back, instead of coming right out by Skinner. So that's kind of where the missed time hit comes into play, and you realize that the intent wasn't to take off the man's head, so it's not as dirty as it was in real time, and that you can't do this at all. But at least we know Ryan Reaves isn't an evil man trying to end Darnell Nurse's career.
Right.
And like, I think what a lot of people don't understand is you don't need to be an evil man like to fully deserve a 5 game suspension. He was essentially suspended 6.
Yes. The non-intent doesn't take away from the punishment that you deserve. Like, I'm not taking away from it. He deserves the 5 games.
And 3 career suspensions, 2 of them post-COVID, right?
Mm-hmm. You got a playoff suspension of multiple games, which is a rare thing.
It's hard
to do.
That means,
according to the Colin Campbell, it counts for 2. So he was technically suspended 4 games.
I mean, welcome to the Leafs, Ryan, because it is hard to do. But like Clifford got 1, Bunting got 1. Probably, I don't know. I don't know about deserved on Clifford. Maybe 1, but we've already done that. Bunting deserved it.
Yeah. So the fact that Ryan Reaves got it as a Vegas Golden Knight, it means a lot. Yeah.
He's probably lucky with that history. One of them being a check to the head. Mm-hmm. That was September 2020, during that weird little bubble. I was surprised the hearing wasn't in person.
Do you want to listen to? I think we all kind of knew it was going to be 5 games. I think that was the initial reaction.
Well, didn't Morgan Riley have an in person?
Yeah, I think it was. Was it not in person? But they sometimes they don't go. You don't have to. You do a video.
You just have to offer the in-person suspension, and they don't have to take it.
I think they offer.
As long as you offer, then they can suspend you as many as you want. Do we want to listen to the NHL Department of Player Safety's explanation of the suspension? Here it is. We can't play it, but here's the audio. Sure, on my high-sticking history hoodie.
Saturday night in Toronto, Maple Leafs forward Ryan Reaves was assessed a match penalty for delivering an illegal check to the head of Oilers defenseman Darnell Nurse, causing an injury. As the video shows, Nurse gathers the puck behind the net and skates up ice, as Reaves pursues from the net front on the forecheck. Reaves closes in on Nurse as he rounds the net and delivers a high, hard check that cuts across the front of Nurse's body, missing his core and picking his head, making it the main point of contact on a hit where such head contact was avoidable.
So just on the video we're watching, do you see where Nurse came out and he kind of took a sharp turn up the ice?
I think I see what you're going.
Ryan Reaves was anticipating him coming out of the corner over
on the
here.
on the Shelby's side.
and hitting. Yeah, you can bring up this still. Nurse was supposed to come around the boards and not cut into the middle. That's why the timing is so painful, because Ryan Reaves is going full speed to the corner, but Nurse comes out and cuts him off halfway.
He gets him in like the ear.
Oh
man,
it's
dude, it's so bad.
So
we can finish the video.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I cut it off just to explain what I was talking about.
This is an illegal check to the head. It is important to note that both elements of the illegal check to the head rule are satisfied on this play. First, the head is clearly the main point of contact, as Reaves' shoulder makes direct and forceful contact with Nurse's head, and it is the head that absorbs the vast majority of the force. Second, the head contact on this check is avoidable.
Yep.
Reaves mistimes this play, choosing an angle of approach that cuts across the front of Nurse, missing his core and making his head the main point of contact. And while we understand that Nurse is in the process of playing the puck, he does not materially change the position of his head or body just prior to contact in a way that contributes to the head being the main point of contact. If Reaves wants to deliver this check, he must take an angle of approach that hits through Nurse's shoulder and core, rather than one that picks the head, making it the main point of contact. To summarize,
Key points.
this is an illegal check to the head. Nurse suffered an injury on the play. Reaves has been suspended 3 times and fined twice
there it is,
during
history.
his 393
and
game
fined twice.
NHL career. The Department of
Get that off. There you go.
Player Safety has suspended Ryan Reaves for 5 games.
Yeah, I mean,
They got it right.
yeah, I mean,
Got it right.
How often are you hearing me like, yeah, they could have given the Leafs more?
Now, I don't know if you have this rant in your chamber or if you even want to do it today.
Ooh.
But some of the discourse I saw from Leafs fans is, yes, they got it right, but they always get the Toronto suspensions right.
Yeah,
I assume you saw this as
I'll
well.
listen to that.
And that it's the other ones where they don't get it right, and that's where the players get to skirt these suspensions.
For me, this one's different. Like I'm trying to think of examples where, okay, Kadri in the playoffs against the Bruins, we can agree shouldn't have done those things. They also didn't fall out of the sky, and the refs very intentionally let that game get out of hand. Kadri was also suspended for not an amount of games.
Till the end of the series.
Which has... Yeah. When has that ever happened?
I don't know of any other.
When did it happen before?
And has it happened
when
after?
When has it happened since?
Yeah.
You want to talk about the Leafs rule book? They made that shit up. Completely made it up. And then he got suspended again when he was with Colorado. Was it for the rest of the series against the Blues? No, they gave him an amount of games because they're a league. Like, what the Anyway, that pissed me off. Spezza to me was, see, there's one where you go, well, there's intent, right? So the 6 games that I think was reduced to 5 is, again, it's justified, but it's like, all right, if that's the standard going forward, it's not. It's not. Spezza over 1,000 games in the NHL or 1,000 games in the NHL, whatever it is. It's not.
It was a flying knee, though.
It was bad. It was really bad. And then
flying knee.
And then, okay, counter argument, Sam Bennett exists.
Yeah.
So there is no justice or hockey god.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so there's that. Bunting. Again, like, how many times have the Leafs in recent memory had the longest or tied for the longest suspension of the playoffs?
It's been a lot, but here's the thing. If we're going to have that discussion, I don't think this is the time to have it.
And that was going to be my next point is, they could have given him, I think we start to have that discussion if the suspension's like 8.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I
5?
could even see 6 games for this, because if you saw what Perron got on
wouldn't
Artem
have said
Zub
shit.
last year, I'd have been like, yeah, 6 games. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 6 games the NHL has sort of set as their bar for this is if
Heinous.
you play the dumbest hit of the season. And the 10 or mores, or well, 8 or mores, I should say, because Kadri, I think, got 8 playoff games, which is insane. The 10 or mores are for like repeat offenders. We're talking Raffi Torres, Matt Cook, and he's just not that. Like, he hasn't been suspended for 3 years. He does have 3 suspensions and 2 fines, but he hasn't been suspended for 3 years. And for the NHL, they're like, well, that's a lot of games. Okay, fine. I understand the feeling, Leafs Nation. This ain't it.
Yep. The rest of the game, though.
Before you do the rest of the game, we should probably take a quick pause and do the BetMGM big story,
Oh,
which I
okay,
assume
fine.
you forgot we had to do.
Yes, I did. I did totally forget. Let's do it right now. Woo! Now listen, I'm gonna do some Penguin stuff, and but we're not doing the rest of the Penguin stuff. This Penguin stuff is limited to only Sidney Crosby.
Oh, the
you are
Emperor.
not allowed to discuss any of the games they played this weekend, except for as it pertains to Sidney Crosby.
Okay.
And the fact that, and I asked you guys this on Friday, the fact that he did not get to 600 goals.
I'm sad about it. I thought he was going to do it.
Columbus and San Jose, it didn't happen. He got a goal, but not 2. And so his next matchups are very interesting, because we got Tampa tomorrow,
Okay, please don't say the Leafs. Please don't say the Leafs.
and then we got Winnipeg on Friday.
Okay.
No Leafs. So, Jesse, you said you almost nailed this when we were off the air here.
Oh, yeah, because I said they were going to lose both games. You asked me about the 600, and I was like, they're going to lose both games. And they lost, and then they went. I was a shootout away from being right, if you listen to the
That's
ad
right.
on Friday's BetMGM.
Yeah.
Did they win in the shootout?
Yeah, they did.
No, they won the shootout against
okay.
the Sharks. Yeah,
Good for them.
Yeah. So, a shootout away. But I'm not surprised. They stink. Like, are we...
But he doesn't stink.
Yeah, but the team stinks. It's not a one-man sport.
Yeah.
You know, you need a good team, and I'm not surprised that Crosby couldn't get 2 goals because they stink.
So knowing that they've had a pretty bad weekend, you can't, sorry, Pens fans, you can't come away from the shootout win feeling good about it, and we'll discuss that later in the
Hey.
show. You can't.
Yes, hey. Yes, you can.
I'll tell you why you can't coming up. The point I want to make here is, or sorry, not the point. The question I have is, does he do it? Do you bet on him to do it against Tuesday against the Lightning?
Tampa would be a good opponent to do it against. I think he does against Tampa.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll say he does it against Tampa.
Crosby scores against a future Hall of Famer. Get it done. If Johansson's in net, he's definitely scoring.
And he's a future Hall of Famer for sure, Jonas Johansson.
Oh, the 100.
No, but if it's Vasilevsky, you think he does it against Vasilevsky?
Yeah.
Because you know Vasilevsky's not going to want that on his scorecard.
I mean, who does?
Nobody
No goalie ever
He's
wants to
facing-
get scored on.
Potentially 2 Hall of Fame goaltenders this week, I think.
Damn.
Vasilevsky and Connor Hellebuck.
Who better? It's that's Crosby is whoever the Anglo-Saxon was in the King Arthur movie. Finally, an enemy worth killing. That's him.
I like
You think
that.
Crosby looks at Ovechkin and everything Ovechkin's doing, and he's like, I need to step it up.
That producer Drew had an absolutely wild take, whereas he's like, in 100 years, everyone's going to remember Ovechkin and no one's going to remember Crosby.
Oh, that's stupid.
It is stupid.
That is outrageous.
I don't know. You don't even bring that up
he
to the
talking
table. That doesn't make sense.
No, and he's like,
He's one of the most. He scored the golden goal. Like, what
he's
does
like-
that mean?
He's like, Crosby's like, what, 20th all time in points? I'm like, he was 20th all time in points like 2 years ago.
He's,
like
I think he's about to be top 10.
Yeah.
Like,
he's already top 10.
No, I think he's 12, isn't he?
Bullshit.
Or is he
No,
higher than that? I don't know.
I'll pull up quad hockey, but regardless,
Yeah,
you guys
no.
say he does it against
Is he saying like we won't remember Crosby in terms of like society won't be
Crosby
around?
is 10th. Crosby is 10th.
He's 10. There you go. Is he saying like we'll all be Elon Musk will destroy the Earth by the time 100 years rolls around? Like I can get that argument.
By like 2 years,
Yeah.
maybe. I was a wild take. No, he's gonna hit the magic number. 600 is the magic Hall of Fame number. And it's gonna without this he wouldn't get in. Without this he wouldn't get in.
Now he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
No, without this he wouldn't get in.
So what do we think?
Vasi.
You think it's
Yeah,
against
I
Vasilevsky?
already said Tuesday.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, Tuesday. There it is. They were wrong before. Maybe they'll be wrong again. It's your
I was
BetMGM
right.
big story.
I was
you
right.
were wrong, sir. They lost in the shootout.
Jesse,
No, but the thing was, would he get it?
No.
I said, no,
Yeah,
they're going to
okay, that's
lose.
fair.
That's
That's
right
fair.
about the...
we were wrong.
Go to
It's a team sport.
betmgm.com/dangle for more. So the rest of the Leafs game, I have a couple of questions. Okay.
Yes.
The first one is, I don't think I could have timed my Evan Bouchard, Chris Tanev argument better on Friday than right before this game. Are we all sure that we want Evan Bouchard on Team Canada as the 7th D-man when Chris Tanev is clearly the guy that you need in that spot?
He's like, you talk about situational, right? Listen, Bouchard wins the majority of his minutes. The Oilers outscore their opponents with Bouchard on the ice. Good things happen when Evan Bouchard is on the ice.
No question.
Beginning, middle, end, right? For the Oilers. Situationally, he's one of the most shocking defensemen in the league.
On defense.
On defense. What? He stops skating. How many times have we done this bit on the show? We did it nearly a year ago exactly. Remember when they were hell-bent on getting Jay Woodcroft fired? I was like, Evan, bend your knees. We kept showing different goals against where he was on. Last year, wasn't there a game where he was on for like 4 or 5 or something like that? And that's why we were carving him. Bend your knees, Evan.
Let's start with that first goal that is the Matthew Nyes goal.
Right.
Matthew Nyes is right place, right time. And the reason that goal happens is because Bouchard, even though he shouldn't, is throwing the puck up the middle, like diagonally through his own defensive zone. It goes off McDavid's thigh or his butt.
Whatever.
But regardless, that's not a pass you make.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was passing to an Oiler who was changing. So it was just miscommunication all around. I don't that's on Bouchard, but I look at that as a mistake that you accept a offensive defenseman is going to make sometimes. That's a mistake where I go, it's bad. It tied the game up. I don't like it, but
I don't know.
I don't expect
At what
him to do it
level
again.
are you taught throw it across the ice?
Oh, I know.
At what level?
I mean, at what level are
There's
you
no
taught
Steve.
any of the things that elite players
career
do?
house leaguer.
No,
they tell you get it up the boards.
No, I'm on Adam's side with this in that regardless of how it played out, it bounced off McDavid's butt, but if McDavid wasn't there, he would have completed the pass and all that stuff. That pass was a bad idea. Regardless of what happened, that pass was a really bad idea.
I think a lot of offensive defensemen do things that are bad ideas that if they work out are good ideas. Listen, Jesse,
think that's an excuse.
I'm grading on a curve.
Because what happens next?
Because of what happens next is so much worse.
I think both can be bad.
Which goal visualizer is this?
We haven't gotten to anything.
Oh, my bad.
So which goal visualizer do you want it to be?
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing.
I kind of want to see. I want to know exactly how bad this pizza to Nyes was.
You want to do the Nyes one? Okay,
Yes.
What we're talking about. All right.
Because it was a pizza. Now, again, it goes off of McDavid's butt. And you do expect high-risk defensemen, high-risk, high-reward defensemen.
Yeah.
Jake Gardner used to do this shit, and it drove people crazy.
Yeah,
and Jake Gardner won a lot of his minutes.
Yeah.
And he was nowhere close to as good as Evan Bouchard is.
That's fair.
But this is the kind of crap that drives a smart hockey market like Edmonton bonkers. Absolutely crazy.
So Evan Bouchard right now has the puck in front of Stuart Skinner. He's going to take the puck and he's going to go around the back of the net. You'll watch him go out here. Now he's standing just below the face-off dot. And what he decides to do here is try and hit Jeff Skinner, who's going up the ice on the other side of the zone. So Jeff Skinner, number 53 over here, is at the other side of the zone. And Evan Bouchard says, you know what? Even though there's 2 Leafs over there, I'm going to hit this man who is probably going for a change.
And
this
where's
is what I'm
Nyes,
talking
by the way,
about.
at this point? Nowhere.
Nyes is in the other corner.
He's nowhere.
Nyes is over by Jeff Skinner.
You ring this around hard enough.
What?
You ring this around hard enough, like behind the net, you probably get it to Skinner anyway.
Yeah, if he had done a turn, because there's nobody for him to pass to on the right side. Right?
No, but also the pressure from McMahon is not all that great.
So how this unfolds is he drives even further to the corner where he's at. So even further to the right of the face-off dot towards the boards, away from the other side of the ice where he's trying to send this pass.
Well, and
what happened?
Here, back up just a sec there.
You gotta go replay the whole. There's no.
My
I
bad.
don't have the scroll.
That's one of the features about this I don't like, but otherwise it's an incredible product.
So-
I don't know who 49 on the Oilers is. I'm gonna go ahead and say Emberson because I don't know
I'll look it
all
up.
of their names.
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
It's Ty Emberson. Yeah.
He's right there.
Okay. Yeah.
He's right there. I have no options.
No, I don't think you just send that. But he's right in front of the net. Maybe you hold off a little. You know. Yeah. Maybe you send it to Connor McDavid.
No. Then Emberson goes behind the net.
Oh yeah. If you want to back pass
Shell
it.
of safety.
Yeah.
Shell of safety.
Oh yeah.
There's nowhere to go with it on the right side, so you back to Emberson, and Emberson figures out there's 90 and there's 53 up high.
Yeah, if you don't want to send it to McDavid because you got a man right in front of you, sure. Send it to Ty Emberson right there behind the net. What the hell are you thinking? This pass goes across the whole damn ice. Is what he's trying to do?
And it's not even I guess what you're trying to do is okay, Skinner gets this, he gains center, dumps it, and changes. I'm trying to think of a mistake was made here. What's the best outcome here?
Right.
What's he hoping for out of this play? Because it's not a breakaway for Skinner. Timmins is right.
I think this play is as bad as the one where he wasn't back checking. They're both equally bad.
This is bad.
What the hell? What?
They're both
bad.
pretty.
This is bad.
They're shit plays.
This is bad. And here's the thing, guys. So we're trying to best case scenario this. I think the best case scenario is it's back to Emberson. Emberson gets it up to Skinner, and then he flips it and then changes because Skinner's
completely
going for a change.
normal.
Right. So then we go forward.
Yeah. So
And we see it go off of 97.
So Evan Bouchard tries to make the cross ice lead pass to Jeff Skinner. It hits McDavid in the butt.
Hold it right there. Do you see where Emberson is?
Yeah.
He's trying to make a lane open.
He was
And so he
waiting.
leaves the front of the net open because nobody would just throw it across the ice.
That's why it's so moronic.
This is crazy. And then, okay, here comes Matthew.
And then Matthew Nyes picks up the butt pass and he shoots these goals.
It's a great read from Nyes.
Oh, it's awesome.
Back-to-back games where
He rocks so hard.
Oh, God, I love
he's
him.
such a dog. It's crazy.
Speaking of dog, have you seen the clip of Berube freaking out about something and Nyes is right in front of him copying every gesture?
Yes.
Oh,
Like father, like son.
I love him.
I'm gonna just to add on to it. Great read by Nyes. If this pass is even attempted because it doesn't go off McDavid's butt, Nyes might intercept it anyways.
If he passed it through the blue paint into the corner for Perry and he can chip it out, that, while not a great option, is a better option. I think we've established
This
that
is bad.
Every idea that we've come up with would have been better than
There's literally 5 guys on the ice, 5 guys that you could pass the puck to. I'll even count the goalie. So there's 5 people besides Bouchard. If you pass it to anybody but Skinner, it's probably not a goal. Jeff Skinner, it's not a goal. So that's up Stuart Skinner.
It's worth mentioning too.
That's
by the way,
it's confusing.
that goal
Anyways,
is in the third period.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
That
They were up-
tied the game.
Yes. And so then we fast forward a little bit here. And we go to, and this is what absolutely is bonkers. Jesse, if you go to the game center and we don't go to the goal visualizer, I want you to go to the actual clip.
Okay.
And I want you to go to the clip. This is Bobby McMahon's goal.
I need to see the speed. That's why I want the
I know, but let's see the visual first.
Yeah?
Just trust me on this.
Okay.
Go to the 12, 13, 14 seconds, whichever it is, on that actual, and just freeze it there, put it on the screen. That's what we need. Because this is where you see Evan Bouchard completely give up on Bobby McMahon's eventual breakaway. He could have had 2 guys harrying him, bothering him, lifting his stick, preventing this, even drawing a penalty. So there's Bobby. And there's
Line.
Evan, and there's Matthias Ekholm. Puck is where?
Right here.
Right there near the sport check side. Look how close Evan's 2 strides from it.
For anybody listening, Evan Bouchard's at their own blue line. Sorry, the
Leafs blue line.
The Leafs blue line, sorry. And the puck is not even at center ice. Like it's right in front of him, about halfway to the red line.
There's only one guy in front of the Leafs blue line right now, like on the neutral zone side of the Leafs blue line, and it's Bouch.
Yeah.
Ekholm's not there yet. McMahon's way not there yet.
So go forward, Jesse, to
I'm just gonna skip ahead a little.
12th
I'm
second.
just gonna bounce. I'm just gonna do.
I'm not.
Dot by
So
dot.
here we go. 12 seconds.
Oh, there
Look,
it is.
So here.
So the puck is still within Bouchard's reach. McMahon is the third guy of 3.
He's still the closest to it.
Yeah, he was close to it the whole way.
And then you go to second 13
I'm just gonna skip.
or 14.
And fully upright.
Sort of there.
Bending.
McMahon is starting to get the edge on Ekholm. And then keep going. And there is where
Why?
Bouchard gives up completely on this. He crosses his own blue line and goes.
5:55 left in the third in a tie game on Saturday Night Hockey.
And here's the giveaway. It's not even the straight knees. It's the one hand on the stick.
Now, here's what we need the goal visualizer for, because I didn't pick up on this when it happened, but I picked up on it when I was shooting the LFR.
Skip forward just a little more. Look.
So
Look!
he completely stops. What's his job again? Playing hockey. And when the goal goes in, he doesn't realize that the puck's gone in, and so he thinks it's hit the post or something, and it's going up the.
Which is what he's doing right now?
It's going offensively now, and he goes, oh boy, and turns on the Jets. This dude doesn't give a damn about his own end. And listen, his abilities make it so that they win the majority of his minutes. Like, you need a player like this. You do. He could easily win the cup this year. Easily. But when the conversation turns to Team Canada, and you already have Cale Makar and others.
Petrangelo.
I'm sorry.
What's your role here?
We don't require your services. We need. Remember when we all lost our mind a couple years ago, and there was talk of Andrew Mangiapane joining Team Canada for a tournament that never ended up happening. He was in the conversation because he had like 35, 40 goals or whatever it was. But the reason he was in the conversation to make the team was penalty killing. That's how a guy like Kirk Maltby or Chris Draper, makes a team like that. We have what you provide. It's like Subban making the Sochi team, and they're like, okay, like what? Do we need a power play specialist as our extra guy? They just didn't need him. There was no point. And I'm not, if everyone's healthy, I'm not bringing this player.
I agree.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good Team Canada teams that don't have Evan Bouchard on them. Like Noah Dobson should probably get his spot. Taves, Theodore, Petro, Morrissey, Makar, Dobson. Like what are we doing here?
Tanev is a 7th.
He doesn't need to be on the team.
Like, it doesn't even have to be
fine.
Tanev.
I heard from somebody this weekend that there is conversations about Tanev picking up.
Sure.
Sure, yeah, good.
So I'm not crazy.
He's a good player.
And gives them what they might not have in that group, right?
Yes.
Again, it's
You're
and
gonna
it's not
you're gonna put that guy in front of Canada's goaltending?
no. You can't.
What are we doing here?
You can't.
Let's
You can't.
stop.
Yeah, just quick list of defensemen if we want to keep going with that. Mackenzie Weegar, Brandon Montour, Colton Parayko, Chris Tanev, Shea Theodore, and then the other guys named Dobson, Petro, Morrissey, Makar, Taves.
It's a wealth of defensemen who can do that and do other stuff.
Don't take the guy who doesn't try. Like,
yeah, that's the other thing. And I am going to bring up another defenseman that doesn't try, who's going to that tournament later on in the show. That is the stuff.
Erik Karlsson.
Yes, that is the stuff. Oh, I've got a doozy of a clip for you. I can't believe it's not gone viral. Cannot believe it. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, Edmonton is a lot like Toronto in a lot of ways, in the sense that what we expect from our team every time, and what drives us the craziest, is when people don't try.
When their best players fail them.
And McDavid and Draisaitl rarely, if ever, fail the Edmonton Oilers. They're always on. They perform in the playoffs. They were magic last year. It's amazing.
It's pretty rare. Yeah.
And they set a bar in Edmonton that was set by the previous Oilers. I'm not just talking about the Gretzky years, although those are the ones that kind of kicked it all off. Doug Weight, Ryan Smith, Curtis Joseph, that era of the Edmonton Oilers was pretty spectacular. And then Tommy Salo in there too, let's not forget. Yep. Let's talk about the Dwayne Rollison, Chris Pronger run all the way to the finals in 2006.
I mean, I know that's a game in November and it's not the final. Did that look like digging in? Did that look like digging the fuck in?
And what were the announcers saying all game? And Jesse, I forgive you for not knowing this because you weren't listening to the broadcast. They were saying, feels like a playoff game.
Well,
feels like a playoff atmosphere.
And I didn't notice this at the time because I listen with the volume very low when I'm doing the streams. But Craig Simpson goes, "Good on Bouchard for not panicking," and the puck is like leaving his stick as he says.
Natalie was like, "Oh, that's a rough call." And I was like, "It's not the call; it's the player."
No, he made a good play followed by a terrible one.
Yeah.
Small sidebar on the defenseman thing for Four Nations for Team Canada. Justin Bourne's article on his projected roster that was released like last week had Drew Doughty on it. Do you guys,
if he's healthy,
yeah, as the next man up.
If he's healthy,
he hasn't played a game.
Yeah,
if he's not healthy,
it said health watch. Next man is Drew Doughty.
I get that. I understand that.
In terms of,
I worry that they're going a little too. And I say this with Chris Tanev, but like if you are gonna do this, I think they said that they were gonna base this on how people did this fall. So if that's the case, then Drew Doughty can't be on the team.
Well,
unless he comes back and has a fucking crazy month starting like now.
Canada has shown a painful tendency to go back to the guys that they're familiar with. And Doughty's a Hockey Canada guy, right? Stamkos in 2010.
Crosby in 06.
They didn't take him.
Crosby,
They didn't take Stamkos at all. I know they won.
But that's bonkers.
Yeah. No, he had like a 40-goal year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Elliot Friedman also wrote in one of his 32 Thoughts blogs, don't forget about Drew Doughty in your Four Nations mock-ups. Team Canada's brain trust is closely monitoring his recovery timeline and was asking for information the moment he was hurt. End of September. Back then, the feeling was he'd be back in about 3 months, give or take. So there's definitely some conversation about Team Canada bringing Drew Doughty if he's healthy. That's the whole thing.
I think that's
he's gonna have to play games.
I get wanting to have Drew in the convetion.
You can't
obviously
dismiss him.
No, of course not.
You can't. But
yeah,
you listed a lot more than 6 really good defensemen for Canada, and I'm taking the healthy ones.
The ones with ankles.
Yeah. Right. And
Doughty
it goes
in
back to like
2010
what you said about Tyler Johnson in the playoffs years ago, Steve. You're like, is Tyler Johnson at 50% really better than the next guy that they can call up? Remember he had that wrist injury?
The answer was no.
The answer was no.
He had such a good playoff, and then it's like, okay, you're not even really useful.
Because it was his wrist.
It's
you know what's weird about
important.
hockey? Ankles are important, man. You'll. I mean, it's weird. Just ask Erik Karlsson.
Yeah.
Now I wanna have the other conversation about this game. Now, so this game was like we talked about the hit, we've talked about the Bouchard stuff, and I feel bad for Bouchard in overtime because he was the guy back, and that really wasn't his fault.
No,
like people were like, "Oh, Bouchard again." I'm like, "That's just kismet." That
we
sucks.
ripped
like,
him for the ones where he deserves to be.
Yeah,
ripped.
like that overtime one. I'm like, "What's he gonna do?"
That was
there?
Marner being a friggin' rock star.
Marner was a god.
He was so best game of the season
For him?
Yeah.
No question.
He's had like 3 in the last week.
He said, yes, he's getting better.
He's had 3 best game of the season.
Did I call it or did I call it?
I don't know if you called it.
The moment
Sounds like
someone,
you called it.
I assume you're keeping score.
I called it because, what happens? I said he doesn't shoot the damn puck to start the season.
Yeah.
Then he remembers to, and he scores 4 or 5 in 6 games.
I can't wait for Austin to come back and for him to go cold.
Well, I
freaking hope
That's
not.
the conversation I want to have.
By the way, it came out this morning. I don't know if you guys saw. Berube said that the earliest Matthews will be available is till next Sunday. So he's been day to day for it'll be 3 weeks now.
The Leafs have 4 games left this month.
Yeah, the next Sunday is 1 game. They play Wednesday and then they play Saturday. Like we're fine. Yeah.
And they've been winning.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
When Matthews does come back, Marner needs to be like this.
Yeah.
And I think, again, I'm going to say this until you're sick of me saying it. They cannot put those two together the same way that they've put them together the last 8 years. They can play together, but you can't put them on PP1 until they both decide that they can.
No,
shoot.
they can't. They can't be on the same line together.
They cannot.
No.
You can put them together in special situations, but what happens? Marner goes and smartly goes, am I a better shot or is he a better shot? I'll find him.
Well,
and we cannot keep doing
one
this.
of the worst ones this season was a power play where Marner has it, gives it to Matthews. Matthews has it, gives it to Marner. Marner has it, gives it to Matthews. Matthews has it, gives it to Marner.
Is that Washington?
I can't remember which one it was, but Matthews, Marner won't shoot. Matthews wasn't shooting either. Which I think is why they were like, okay, Austin Matthews is not shooting. Let's perhaps sit him and cure what's ailing them. All I'm saying is, what's this? Here, Jesse, has the Kitchener conversation with Adam and Craig Custons gone up yet?
No, I think it'll be up on Friday. Schedule, since you want to bring this up, schedule release for us this week is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because you're flying out to Halifax on Friday.
Yes.
So just everybody knows that. And we'll probably throw up the Kitchener conversation on Friday just for content for Friday.
And by the way, it's a really fun conversation. So I know it's a little different than what we normally do. I think you're going to really like it.
Well, and the question I was asked at the very end of the show, Adam, was why do you hate Marner so much?
Oh my gosh, what?
The dude.
It was asked a joke. Like he was joking.
Yeah. The dude who showed up Saturday, he can show up every day if he feels like it. That dude, are you kidding me?
Pay him. What's he want? Pay him.
Oh no.
Pay the man.
No. Let's not pay people for November goals.
No. Well,
I agree, Jesse. I agree. I
tough,
agree.
Adam.
Well-
That's a tough call.
And this is part of why, okay, listen, you celebrate every win.
Sure.
Celebrate every victory. We need to see this every game. We do. That's what the money is for. And okay, Steve, you keep bringing up the money. Forget the money. Forget the money. I won't. One of the best players in the league.
Sure.
He's one of the best players in the league. They need this. Look at the rest of the lineup. All right. You know what, guys? We're down to Edmonton. Mm-hmm. Get Pontus out there.
No, you can't. Yeah. And I think, I think what he is showing us is he can drive his own line.
Yes.
But when he's on the line with Matthews, like Nylander is showing us, they are the rare wingers that can drive their own line. He needs a better centerman to be able to split those three up. But if they can roll those three, 1, 2, 3, separately, that's a real factor. And Marner, the type of hockey he's playing, the type of goals he scores, this is what's so important, right? When there's that famous screenshot of last year's Game 7 where Marner's got an open net, and what does he do? He just goes wide, doesn't shoot it. Mm-hmm. And people go, I think it was Game 7. Was it Game 7?
Yep.
And that is when Mitch is thinking too much, that's what happens. You can tell when he's a hard on the sleeve guy. When he's in the zone, he is north-south, which we hear a lot in Toronto these days. He's not left-right. It's straight ahead, and he drives. He drives the net, and I've seen him mix it up, and we're seeing that. And that is the guy that Toronto fell in love with.
There are games he's played this season where I'm like, I think this might be the best game of his life, actually. Like, that game against Edmonton, how many games as a Leaf has he played better? Don't point me to games where he's put up 3 or 4 points.
Play, not result.
All
play
around and everything. Dude, if you go back and watch the stream, it was McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard. I laughed.
Yeah.
Because the Leafs respond with Marner, Tavares, OEL. And I'm like, all right, so you're putting Marner on McDavid. And then OEL and Tavares can fight over who has to take Draisaitl. I guess it's OEL. And Tavares has to attack high and get Bouchard. All right, fine. What happens? McDavid makes off like a bat out of hell. The only dude who has a snowball's chance in hell of catching him or keeping up with him or even screwing up his angle, there you go, a little bit is Mitch. Mm-hmm. And what does he do? He does it. He makes McDavid's shot difficult, and it's a stop. Then it's a 2-on-1, and it's Draisaitl, McDavid against Mitch. Again, he's essentially playing defense this shift. When he went for the 2-on-1, he's essentially pinching.
Yep.
OEL was not the defenseman in that trio. He started back, but he wasn't. And Marner breaks it up, 2-on-1, and he looks off Tavares and puts it, not just in, off the bar. You fucking beauty. Like, that dude can show up every day, and I'll be like, my team's winning tonight. Matthews comes
There's
back.
a confidence and a swagger to that, isn't there?
Matthews comes back, you're dead.
And
Forget it.
You know what it does too? When Matthews does come back, it doesn't have to make him the center of attention right away. He's going to need a couple of games to get up to snuff because you just do. So Willie and Mitch, keep riding Willie and Mitch even when he comes back.
Now, someone sent me this, and I love it, and it's something that we've talked about.
Okay.
How about this? They put Nyes, Matthews, Domi.
Mm-hmm.
I could get down with that. I want Domi on the right wing. I hate the way he's playing, but I think he's hurt. Hopefully he gets healthy. McMahon, Tavares, Marner. Oh yeah. There's a lot of speed there, a lot of goal scoring ability. Hell yeah, dude. Then they put Jarnkrok, Holmberg, Nylander. Well, Jarnkrok's not happening. He's out month to month. And Holmberg is flatly not good enough. And then you have Nylander. So the weakness of this lineup continues to be that third line, even if you separate the
You
core
can't
four.
separate the three of them until they get the third line center they need.
Yeah, like
They need a third line
that's just a
center
waste
with
of
some-
time.
Yes.
It's a waste of Nylander's time.
Agreed.
And he's too good to do that with. But you get that one guy. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really, 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 really would tie the room together.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Mitch plays like that. I'll buy his jersey myself. I'll put my jersey. I'll put my kids both in his jersey, number 16 with his name on the back. You gotta. It's an everyday thing.
And the criticism, to be clear, has been so hard because you know it's possible.
Yes, you don't hear me giving this sort of shit to like Nick Robertson every game. He hasn't shown himself to be capable of the things that Marner can. And that's not a knock on Nick.
They're a different universe.
Heavy as the crown. All right? Almost no one can do what Mitch can do. Don't look at me to solve what ails the Leafs. I can't do it. Look around your locker room. They can't do it either. There's a couple guys who might be able to do it. Couple guys. When the games matter most, if you play like that, you'll fucking win. That's what we need to see.
You know, I saw a lot of people that came up in the video. Drew texted the group because Drew was just full of great takes this weekend, but I think he was jacked because he was going to the Buffalo Bills game and they won. He said, well, the Leafs didn't deserve that one. And I want to ask a serious question because there are games that a team steals, a goalie steals. There are games where you play like crap and somehow you win. I didn't see that Saturday night. And I want to correct this vision that I think even Drew is susceptible to, which is a stats-driven vision of a complete 60 minutes. And what I mean,
Washington, I thought they stole those 2 points.
yes,
Edmonton's different.
Edmonton is a Game 7 Stanley Cup finalist.
Yep.
They came as close as you can come. And
They're
yes,
still my cup pick.
and yes, their goaltending's been bad. It was bad last year to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, their defense is thin. They could probably figure that out.
Yep.
Edmonton's a phenomenal hockey team
Yes.
with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid up front. End of story. And I look at this.
We wouldn't have spent 10 minutes on Evan Bouchard if his name was Ty Emberson.
Right.
We know what he's capable of.
And it's more than that.
Heavy as the crown.
So I look at this and I go, when I see people say, and this isn't really to pick on Drew, it's that people are like, well, I still want them to play a complete 60 minutes. I think we need to understand what a complete 60 minutes is. It's effort's there, but when you're playing a good team, the idea that you're going to dominate them all game, that happens maybe once a year. You're not going to get that in the play. There are going to be times where you're all over them, and there are going to be times where they're all over you. And you need to, it's when you got straight knees that, okay, we didn't give a complete 60 minutes. When you've dug in and you've played the full 60 and you've weathered the storm, that's a full 60. This idea that you're going to play a perfect 60 minutes on Saturday night in Toronto, Connor McDavid's friends and family, Zach Hyman's friends and family.
All of them.
They're all paying to play because they bought so many tickets.
Yeah.
If you think that you're just going to have a dominant 60 minutes against the Edmonton Oilers, it's just not going to happen. It's not a reasonable expectation. No. So I think for fans too, we got to know and differentiate the fact of hey, this team, both teams dug in there. I thought they were both really fantastic and either deserved.
It was so tight the entire time.
To be fair to like the casual fan who watches the Leafs, I don't think they think like that. I think they think, oh, we won.
Yeah,
I think they think we won the game and it was dramatic and Mitch Marner scored and what a great time that was.
Yes.
I don't think they think, you know what? Second period, they really should have had those 4 minutes coming out of that TV timeout. Like that's niche. Probably the majority of our audience probably, but like the casual fan isn't thinking like
You're
that.
right.
The game, it's a game of moments, right? You kill off that 5-minute major. That's an enormous moment.
Mm-hmm.
Are things going great when you have a 5-minute major? No.
No, you didn't capitalize on your own 5-on-3.
Well,
Not great.
And that was a bad moment from the game.
Yeah.
That was a bad moment.
Yep.
It was a back and forth tug of war that the Leafs came on top on.
Really, really good team and really, really good game. Teams, excuse me. As a business owner, and we went through this, sometimes traditional legal services come with major sticker shock. They're spensy poo. They're very, very expensive.
Sticker shock is such like a dad term.
It is. Well, I don't know. Like, how do I put this in a way that you go, you look at the invoice and you go, oh my God. Like, right, it's a lot. So here's the deal. LegalZoom has everything you need to launch, run, and protect your business in one place. At LegalZoom, it helps business owners like you start and maintain your business and do all the things that you need, setting it up and keeping it going. And hey, the price is pretty good too. We like the price.
No sticker shock.
Yes. Well, that was the whole idea. It was like all in one place and let's keep the prices down.
You don't want to touch the sticker and it goes bzz.
So if you want to launch, run, and protect your business,
Adam, laugh.
make it official today at LegalZoom.com and use the promo code DANGLE to get 10% off any LegalZoom business formation product, excluding subscriptions and renewals, which expires at the end of this year. So 12/13/24. Get everything you need to set up for success at LegalZoom.com and use the promo code DANGLE. LegalZoom.com, use the promo code DANGLE. LegalZoom provides access to independent attorneys and self-service tools. LegalZoom is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice except where authorized through its subsidiary law firm LZ Legal Services, LLC. Now, let's move on to Alexander Ovechkin. Now,
Good player.
I've heard he's
Hot
good at
take.
hockey.
Yeah.
I got a trivia question for the two of you from Austin.
Matthews.
Not Austin Matthews. Austin with an I, unfortunately.
Stupid.
Yeah, what a silly way to spell it.
Yeah.
Go to Texas.
Adam, I've got some podcast trivia for Jesse and Steve to try battling out today if there's time. Alexander Ovechkin currently has 13 goals. He's on my fantasy team to start the year after his hat trick last night. And it took him only 17 games to get there.
That's so few games.
That's not a lot.
Last year, Alex Ovechkin finished with only, LOL only, 31 goals in 79 games. How many games did it take him to score his 13th of the year last year?
Well, we know he was off to a very slow start, and then he got to not go to the All-Star game here in Toronto, and he went and he rejuvenated and had an incredible back half. So the number is going to be pretty high in terms of games.
I'm going to say 52.
Oh, my God.
Game 52. No, because he scored at it was like an 8-goal pace versus like a 60-goal pace. Like he had an insanely divided season.
You said 13 and 17?
13 goals in 17 this year. Last year, he only had 31 in 79. How many games did it take him to get to 13
13 goals. Steve, you say 52?
No, I mean, you say it out loud, it makes it sound too much, but
Oh, no.
I'm sticking with it.
You're probably going to be closer than I am. I'll say 37.
Steve is closest. 49.
Wow. Holy shit.
49, which shows you how much he scored in the back half.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That pushed the Caps into the playoffs.
Yep.
They stole that spot from the Flyers. I just think it's crazy. And by the way, the Dylan Strome and Connor McMichael halo effect from this is insane too. Like their numbers are off the charts.
They're wild.
Crazy.
They're wild. And I part of me wonders, Caps fans would know this better. I'm trying to give players who we've sort of written off their flowers if they deserve them. Mm-hmm. I wonder if part of the reason Strome and McMichael are thriving is has Dubois taken away some of those responsibilities? Because all we've done is dump on this guy for 2 years, and I think it's deserved. But if the Capitals are doing well, he is part of that story.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yep. So Alexander Ovechkin, as of this morning, is 28 goals away from 894. 29 away from the record, which is 895 in the NHL.
Man,
somebody asked me, because I'm doing my stream not on Monday night this week, I'm doing it Wednesday. They said, how many goals within the record do you guys need to get before you're live streaming every Capitals game waiting for it to happen?
And
I thought, damn, that's a good opportunity, and I think we should definitely do that.
We can't miss that.
I know we can't.
They don't play the Leafs in the back half.
So it won't happen.
Good.
That's really good because it would happen against the Leafs.
We've lucked out. It won't happen against our team.
Actually, so I found a stat yesterday about Ovechkin, and to answer your question, like 885 or 890.
Yeah, because you got to. I think within a hat trick.
Yeah,
within a hat trick, you got to be. Like, there's not a lot of 4-goal games. So I'd be fair saying once we get to 8,
you got another hat trick last night.
890, 891. I'm starting to go. I'm uncomfortable here. I better stream.
Okay. Did you guys see when Aaron Judge? I don't know if you're following along baseball, in 2022 season when Aaron Judge set the American League home run record with 62 home runs.
Yes,
and he broke Roger Maris's record, but he hit 61, and then it took him like 4 or 5 games just to hit 62 and then pass it. And Roger Maris's family had to follow the Yankees around. No! They had to be there for when he breaks the record, right? They got to hand over whatever plaque that they have. So they were like, it was like a thing on baseball Twitter about like their family is just on this traveling road show with the Yankees because it was taking him so long to break the record.
Aaron, this is costing a fortune, Aaron. Aaron, please hit the home run.
It was hilarious because they're probably sick of this shit.
Yeah.
Every night we're watching them in the stands every single game, be like, is this going to be 62? So I wonder if when he hits 893, because like they're going to have to do it before because you can have a hat trick, right? So they're going to have to get to like when it's 8 whatever, it's close.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman's going to have to be at every single game.
So is Wayne.
Wayne is going to have to take off whatever he's doing in his life and just go to every single game. And I wonder how long that's going to last and if we get some comedy.
Here's what I bet.
100%.
I bet TNT's going on the road.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
He will be in the...
For how long?
Well, however long it takes, man.
What if he goes like on a 2-week slump?
Oh, man.
National outlets should just have someone on the Ovechkin beat.
No, yeah, at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
Starting now.
Yeah.
He's within 30.
Well, he's not going to score 30 in a game.
He might.
So I think it's a little
No, but I
premature.
think you could tell the story of the road to it, right?
Yeah.
I think that is a compelling story. I'm sure somebody's writing a book about this.
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. Stat for you. What year was the oldest goalie Ovechkin ever scored on in the NHL? What year were they born?
Oldest goalie he ever scored on. I feel like it's got to be like someone like Tim Thomas or something, right?
Nope.
No.
Oh, you're not going back nearly far enough.
No, you have to think like the year he entered the league, who was old in that.
So it's got to be then.
So it happened in 2005.
So I'll say Hasek and 1959 or something like that.
It was, you're not going to believe this, against the Leafs.
No way. Eddie Belfour?
The Leafs played a home and home against Washington. He scored 2 goals against Michael Tellquist. Second half of the home and home, he scores 2 goals against Ed Belfour, born in 1965.
Wow.
Last season, he scored a goal against Yaroslav Askarov, who was born in 2002.
That's kind of nuts.
So by the end of his career, he's probably going to score against a younger goalie than Askarov. Only 5 goalies have ever played who were born in 2002.
And during that whole time, Cliff Fletcher was still working for the Leafs.
Yeah.
The entire
Yo, Jesse, in 1965, Cliff Fletcher was working in the NHL.
Yeah. No, that's not even a joke.
No, that's like real, man.
That is a thing that is happening.
Wait, no, I need to wait.
Man, that was good time, man. That was good time. No, he was.
It was working.
If you want me to look
He
it
had
up,
a
I'll look it up.
job.
Go to
He was an
Elite
executive.
Prospects, Cliff Fletcher.
Well, I'll tell you that. Yeah, St. Louis Blues, 1966 is a pro scout.
Yeah. Not for the
He
Leafs,
also,
but
Fletcher started for the Canadians as a scout under Sam Pollock for the Verdun Blues junior team, 1956, man. Canadians.
Cliff Fletcher has been working in hockey longer than my father has been alive.
Yes. Yeah, we should just do every once in a while as a recurring bit, world events that happened while Cliff Fletcher was working in the NHL.
Yo.
Like, that's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was at the first Beatles concert. Like,
Yeah,
dude, that's
quick-
crazy.
quick list
he
of
saw the
things.
Beatles with Pete Best.
quick list of things invented after Cliff Fletcher was born.
Oh, no.
The color television, the aerosol can, the atomic bomb,
Wow.
kidney dialysis, aqualung, mobile phones, Velcro, microwaves, the jukebox. There's quick Google.
Jesus Lord.
He's
So
been around
anyway,
a long time.
this is supposed to be about Ovechkin.
Oh, sorry.
But
sorry.
I want to know, by the end of his career, is he going to score against a goalie born in like 2003, 2004, 2005?
How long do you think he plays?
Well, I don't know.
I think he's got at least 3 years left. Dude, if you're scoring at a 40-goal pace, like, where are you going? Why wouldn't you keep playing?
The youngest, the goalie born most recently to ever play in the NHL is Jesper Wallstedt, who was born just before 2003.
Okay.
It was like November 2002. So if anyone gets called up who's a 2003 baby, look out. Ovi's coming for you.
Tell you, and we'll talk about the salary cap exploding as we have mentioned earlier this year, and Alan got into it in one of the APs that we did this year. But like Ovi's making 9.5, which any 40-goal scorer is pretty much worth. He'll make it again next year. With the cap exploding, is Ovi due for a raise?
No.
When he's 38?
No, stop it.
just to keep it at the
He also
same
just wouldn't
percentage.
do that.
I think
He's 39 now. I thought he was 37. He's 39.
as a wink at Crosby, he should sign for 8.
Ah,
You know, it'd be hilarious if he was like 8.71. I'd like
That I would like.
I'd
That
like
I would
that
like.
a lot.
Cliff Fletcher was born before the laundry machine.
No.
He lived in a world where there was no laundry.
What year was he born?
1939.
When they were still running it through those crankshaft.
I don't even know if they had that.
You see them on Looney Tunes, but they have a big basin of water, and then you scrub it, and then you crank out the water, and then you hang it on the line. It's insane.
And he was working in hockey. He said, "You know what? They should really pass the puck forward." You know,
Jesse's
was he
got
born-
tears in his eyes. He's laughing so hard right
the
now.
Cliff Fletcher stuff will get me every time.
What month of 1939 was he born?
His birthday is August. Oh my
16th.
God, I was wrong about his birth year. 1935.
Oh, never mind. I was
August-
going to say, Adam, was he born before the invasion of Poland?
Yes.
August 16th, 1935 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
I also want to throw out there that he has been in the Hockey Hall of Fame for 20 years already. They put him in 04. We were in high school.
Yeah, he was put in as a builder. Yeah, the foundation. Holy.
1935 is so long ago,
long
89 years ago, but like it's a different world.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, man. It's a whole different world.
Yeah, and he started as a scout in 1966.
You imagine this guy born before the washing machine having to like figure out an iPhone? Like this is why it's so unfair to grandparents. Like people are like, oh, the boomers, whatever. I'm like, yo, you need to talk to your grandparents about scams online. Look at the change they've seen in their lives. Like this is
You think they understand?
no,
that?
of course they don't understand email. Are you kidding me?
Sorry, I need to look up who the prime minister was when
Mackenzie
he was
King.
born. It was William Lyon Mackenzie King.
Yeah.
The longest name
Who's
ever.
the president?
Would have been Roosevelt. Second Roosevelt. Because
Teddy.
Teddy, no. That's,
No, not Teddy.
Teddy was the turn of the century, so it would have been the other Roosevelt, whose name escapes me for some reason. I don't know why.
It's impressive you know that.
Yeah.
Theodore?
Regardless.
Theodore. No, Theodore is the first one. That's
Yeah,
Teddy.
that's Teddy.
Bruce.
Literally just Google it.
Bruce Roosevelt.
Franklin.
Frank.
Frankie.
Oh, Adam, you are wrong.
Oh.
Oh, is it?
William Lyon Mackenzie King became prime minister October 1935.
Oh.
Who was it?
R.B. Bennett,
Yeah, one of the more forgettable.
who was born in the prime minister. The prime minister when Cliff Fletcher was born was born in 1870.
That's why it's like when people go, oh yeah, like I have a grandparent and their grandparent fought in the Civil War. Like that's how easy that is to happen.
It's not hard to go back to generations in your family and get to like the 1700s.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Pre everything.
If you've got if you've got a family that lives more than 50 years on average, yeah. It's yeah, dude. That's right.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the
Good for him, man.
At the Remembrance Day ceremony that the Leafs had last week, they brought out a bunch of centenarians. Like they had 4 or 5 people there that were all 99 or 100. Think of the world that they were born into, and like their parents and all that shit. That was a long time ago.
Oh man, all these people who like I knew personally are on the money now. Yeah. So weird. Yeah. Holy crap.
Anyways.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In 2020, Irene Triplett, the last American to collect a Civil War pension, died.
Wow.
She was married, I believe.
2020?
Yeah, $73.13 a month. Yeah, so basically she how did this work? She was in a long-term care facility, blah, blah, blah. Basically, many widows and children of long ago soldiers still got their pensions. And according to Veteran Affairs, there are 33 surviving spouses and 18 children receiving pension benefits dating back to the Spanish-American War in 1898. So
What?
She was, yeah. So it's interesting that she got it. I don't know how she got it. The Washington Post, of course, didn't fucking make that information readily available. Like all they do is talk about her conditions. Everyone wants to know the real answer, which is why. But yeah, there's somebody who right now is still getting a Spanish-American War, which Teddy Roosevelt fought in 1898.
Well, you said she died, right?
She did die.
She's not
in 2020.
Okay.
She did, but that was the last one.
Yes.
Is that nuts? Yeah.
On a horse with a sword.
Yeah.
Isn't that the picture?
He started the Rough Riders. And he, by the way, bought and made his own unit because you could buy into the army at that point, and made his own outfit, his own uniform.
Adam,
crazy.
What do you got on the Penguins?
Well, Tristan Jarry allowed 2 goals on his first 3 shots. And by the way, that was against Columbus. The next night, the Penguins blew a 3-goal lead, but still won it in the shootout against the San Jose Sharks. I want to throw this. This is a crazy stat, and I want to give this person full credit. So I'm going to pull up their tweet because I'm just now getting inundated with Penguins crazy stats. This is Jason McKay, who is a columnist for PG Sports Now. And he said, this is Tristan Jarry's 4th start of the season. He has now allowed a goal on the first shot he's faced in 3 of them. And he had a pretty good start in the AHL. He was doing really, really good.
Yeah.
So that's bad. But Jesse, I sent you a game recap.
Okay.
And I need you to go to Matthew Olivier's goal.
That guy, I think, might be the toughest nut in the NHL.
Yeah. He's also got 5 goals.
Yeah,
5 tucks, not bad. Not bad.
That fight he had with Arbor Jacki, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was
that's
nuts.
a bad man.
That was nuts.
That's a bad man.
So-
holy.
I assume we're going to pay attention to number 65 here.
We are going to pay attention to number 65. Now, context is key. No. I want you to bring up the actual.
You want to see?
I want the thing. We can go to the visualizer, but I want you to show me the screen grabs here, and I want you to start when the Penguins are in the Columbus zone. They starts in the offensive zone. Now, just to give you some background here, Zach Aston Reese and Zach Werenski score on shots 1 and 3 of the game. So those are the first 2 goals. Beauvillier gets 1 to end
Penguins
the
are
first
getting
period.
outscored by dudes named Zach.
Yeah, and then in the second period,
Good one, Steve.
Michael Bunting.
I thought it was.
Michael Bunting makes it 2-2. Penguins are in a good spot here.
Sure.
Okay, we allow Tristan's a little shaky, but we're back on track here. It's back to 0-0 essentially.
Yep.
The game ends 6-2 in Columbus's favor. And this goal,
Hey, been there.
Matthew Olivier, good player, tough customer.
Just.
This is a goal that Matthew Olivier never should have been able to score.
Okay.
Now, Jesse, start with the.
It's a little choppy.
Is it choppy?
I'm trying to.
We can see positionally where they are.
Okay, I got it here, kind of loaded. Let's hope it works.
Okay, so there's Karlsson, and hey, look, the Penguins have some good. That's really good positioning. Everybody in this position is where they should be.
For people listening,
The Penguins are in the Columbus Blue Jackets zone. You've got both defensemen at the point. One defenseman has the puck. The other one is Erik Karlsson on the close end glass. And you've got 3 Penguins deep, and one's actually a little too deep because you can't see him on screen. Okay. And then what happens, Jesse? The puck goes. The puck is passed by the other defenseman, and the Penguins forward has it. There's a guy in front of the net. Everybody's good. Oh, we got an offensive zone shot.
This looks pretty good.
This looks really, really good. This is what it should be. Now, here's what happens. All 3 Penguins forwards are stuck along the far boards in the corner because that's where the last shot went. And Erik Karlsson smartly goes, "Hey, I'm an offensive guy. What I need to do here is I'm going to pinch."
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to pinch to prevent the breakout.
I want you to. So when you pinch, though, as a defenseman, you've got to pinch hard and fast. It can't be, "Hey, I felt like gliding in to pinch." It's get to the puck or move back. One of the two. Here's what happens. What do you think happens? Go.
I mean, it looks like he's gonna goose it. He's gonna step on the gas and he's gonna get there first.
Right. Well, look at if we push forward a second here, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see how straight up he is?
Yep. No, you can already tell he bailed.
And he halfway commits to pinching and is able to be somewhat successful because he is able to push the puck past. However, he is now overcommitted and there are 4 guys deep. And Erik's got to turn around here.
Where's the support?
Well, there is none.
Yeah.
And his defensive partner does get back. I'll give him credit.
That's not support. That's just one guy doing their job.
And then there's Erik right here. He's still beyond the blue line. And there you got 3 Blue Jackets off full pace.
You're dead.
And hold on, though. This is the most egregious part. Mm-hmm. Because defenseman overcommits to Blue Jackets player. Blue Jackets player passes over to the 2 other guys on the 3-on-1. And just watch Erik Karlsson. He's the second Penguin to cross his own blue line. Just watch this.
Okay.
What happens? Starts gliding.
Oh, he starts gliding like at the advertisement.
And then take Steve off the screen. Look at him now. You see where his hands are?
Why is he throwing his arms up?
Exactly.
Why is he throwing his arms up? What I think happened here. So I think I understand why he's upset.
Give it to me.
Does he do a good enough job executing?
On either end, he's not hard enough.
No, he's not hard enough, and he has to wear that. I think the frustration is I'm pinching to get us out of a bind. Because there's a bind here. They're going to attack us 3-on-2, and you assholes are going to have to back check to help us anyway, if that's what ends up happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch to try to keep the offense alive here, but that means one of you has to have my back, and no one even tries.
Okay.
So I think that's what he's going for.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Pinch better.
Yeah.
You make $11 million a year.
Yeah, it's a bad. It's not.
And this is a guy.
I understand where
this
his
is a guy
anger's
who
coming
knows
from.
how to do. I'm asking Erik to do what he does best. I'm not asking him to kill penalties. I'm asking him to be the offensive dynamo that we know he is.
But isn't this bad teams in a nutshell?
Yes.
It's bad teams in a nutshell where there's blame to go around and none of you look good. You know? So I understand what you're saying about Karlsson.
Mm-hmm.
I understand his point if that is indeed the point he's making. I'm also just
Assuming.
assuming. Who knows? Maybe he's throwing his hands up like, can we get a fucking save?
Probably that too.
Can we get a save? But could the forwards have done better? Yeah. Could he have done better? Yeah. Could the goalie have done better? Yeah. That's the bad team trifecta.
And then after that, Voronkov, Severson, and Sillinger, none of whom had more than 3 goals to start the game, all score in the third period, and it's over.
Man. Yeah, that Voronkov.
Big.
Wasn't that the guy I praised in the Leafs Blue Jackets game and he wasn't playing?
Oh yeah.
I want to remind everybody that Tom Werner, who's the chairman of Fenway Sports Group, said before last year's playoffs basically started, because the Penguins were out.
Yeah.
We're going to be better next year, I promise.
They
But what
gotta
do you
make
want him
moves.
to say?
I want him to do something. It's not what I want him to say. I want him to do.
Yeah, but you brought up what he said. I think that's okay to say at the time if you own a team. I think your expectations are we're going to be better next year.
And
I don't think you expected
what did they do this summer to get better?
Yeah, but you were criticizing what he said. You know?
I am criticizing what he said because he didn't follow it up with action.
Right. I think that's different than if that's the point, then
That's
sure.
my point. My point is
sure.
before the playoffs started last year, he told Sidney Crosby, "We're going to be better, I promise." And what did they do?
Listen, you
Look
lied.
what the Caps did. They traded bad money for bad money.
Yep.
They tried something.
Yep.
And they had more cap space to deal
All
with.
while,
I get that.
All while drafting well, drafting often. Like I called this. The Capitals have found a way to regenerate themselves. They took a few bets along the way that have paid off.
Sure.
Every team is going to have to take bets. They drafted Connor McMichael. They drafted Alexei Protas. Miroshnichenko is coming down the rear. I know there are other guys I've missed. There's a new generation of Capitals to join the new guys. The Penguins are on an island. You have the vets who have been there forever and a bunch of mercenaries. Guys. They are guys. And every bet, almost every bet, not every bet, but almost every bet has underachieved. Bunting was a really good bet last year. It hasn't worked out so great this
But
year.
he was great for them last year when he did play there.
Like Beauvillier, I guess that's going okay. It's fine. But like Dubas did this so much with the Leafs where he would bring in guys and it's like, okay, are they bad? No. He very rarely brought the Leafs bad players. You know what I mean? It's just, you're a guy. You're taking up space on the bench. You're not good enough. And to me, that's everyone outside of the older guys.
So I think to get out of this isn't just to beat up on the Penguins they are a story though, right? Like they are.
The Penguins owe it to hockey to be better than this because I'm sorry, you have the mantle of the team. You are the custodians of Sidney Crosby.
And Gino.
And Letang and. But you owe it to the sport and your fans to be better than this.
And to fight for a wild card spot. Fight for anything.
Anything.
They're not fighting. That clip is not fighting.
You can miss and we'll all be disappointed. You're flirting with last. How? How do you pull that off? Mm-hmm. How do you pull that off? It's unacceptable.
I think how they pull it off is they won 3 Stanley Cups. You know, the San Jose Sharks from like 2004, from the lockout till they missed the playoffs in 1920, went that whole stretch and they missed the playoffs in that stretch like 2 times.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then now they really suck because they had that really good stretch. And same with the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks were dominant. They got their 3 Stanley Cups and now they absolutely suck. And I feel like the way we got here is they were competitive for 20 years and won 3 Stanley Cups. And I feel like that's okay.
It is okay. There are teams that find a way to compete all the time. They're the exception.
What if
They're
they did it for
exception to the
20
rule.
years?
Right. So like Tampa I kind of look at is they're still in the middle of it. Like we often forget about the Cup final they went to in 2015.
Yeah, we do.
We forget about the Final Four they went to in 2011. Like this team's been hanging around. Like they've been contending for a long time. Dallas has contended and contended and contended, and they actually haven't won like since a long time ago. Now, anyway, it's a long time ago. I know it's more recent than 67. Shut up. But what did the Blackhawks do? They eventually finally went, all right, let's blow it up.
Yeah, so what...
And what they get? Connor Bedard.
What you're asking for is the Penguins to get to that point. But the Blackhawks also hung on like a couple years after. And
They did.
we're in that little couple year bubble with the
Yeah.
Penguins. That's why I'm not too stressed about this, because all great franchises do this. The Detroit Red Wings, their playoff streak was unbelievable.
It was
They haven't
crazy.
really been
They were
close.
good from our childhood until we started this podcast, and we're halfway through this
Oh,
podcast.
I was probably into adulthood when I was like, what do you mean the Dead Wings?
didn't-
What were those?
I didn't live in the world until with a world where the Detroit Red Wings didn't make the playoffs until their most recent missing the playoff season.
You were born into a world where the Penguins were the Cup champions.
Yes.
Yes, there you go. So, then now they missed the playoffs a couple. They haven't had a playoff game at their new arena. It hasn't happened. Yeah. So the fact that we're here with the Penguins shouldn't be surprising. Management should realize that, and we're just in that little window where contenders who are contending for literally 20 years of competitive hockey are in this window where they're trying to hang on to that era of 2 decades of hockey and all of their rings, and now they need to eventually give up on that chase or try and do whatever rebuild on the fly, which is never going to work.
I think
so. Now we're just kind of begging them to give up on it, bottom out, and commit to that.
Yes, I'm begging them.
But that's why I'm not too stressed about it, because you should try and hang on to your 2 decades plus of dominance.
Right. I think for Pens fans, though, it's all the organization says is we're going to be better. And Pens fans are like, okay, when? And it's not because they have an expectation that this team's going to be as good as it was in like 15, 16, 17 or whatever. It's because they said we'll be competitive this year and proceeded to do nothing about it. And I think that's the frustrating point. They know that they're lucky. They know that they've been spoiled. They know that. I don't think anybody knows that better than Pens fans. God forbid you suggest Crosby plays elsewhere. But is it that crazy now? Because here's the problem. They know that he either retires or he has to move on if he decides to, if it continues this way. There is no reality. There's no reality where the Penguins are last place and they're like, okay, I'm sure Crosby's cool with it, unless he is. And then you go, okay, so maybe they do what they did with Mario and Sid takes care of the next Sid.
Yeah, why can't they just write off these 2 years and just be like, hey, we're pseudo-competitive, but we're not really competitive, kind of bottom out with Crosby, and then he retires?
Well, I think it's the expectation set by management.
He's got more than 2 years left.
You got to stop saying we'll be competitive. What you need to do you need to realign what you're saying. You need, as a management group, you need to stop saying we're going to be competitive and stop setting the fans up for this. If you say we expect to be competitive and you're tied for last, fuck, dude, then you're dumb. You look stupid. Okay. If you go, hey, okay, we got to rebuild here, then fans go, okay, I'm ready for that.
Yeah. I think if this season ends the way it's trending towards, then you get the final push of like, okay, we are what we are.
Yes.
Like because that's the sobering thing about professional sports is you play the games and you have an actual result of what you are. And unlike the Leafs, like that is what you are. And that you must admit that, hey, if you keep losing,
might have to make a change.
It's crazy. You get results. And even though you want to admit those results aren't real, you got to eventually look at the results. But I think the Penguins would look at the results of this season and actually act on the results. And maybe at the end of this year, if things are like bottom 5 team, Dubas is like, okay, guys, hey, Fenway Sports, you got to admit that we're not competitive here. And I can totally see
Does anyone
Crosby,
have Dennis Malkin's number? Sorry.
I can totally see Crosby and Malkin sucking for 2 years with this team and then retiring. Like, I feel like they're so loyal to Pittsburgh that if Dubas is like, we're going to bottom out, and they're like, you know what, we'll ride out the sun with this bottom team, like, they might be cool with that.
I see Evgeny Malkin killing a man before that.
Maybe, Jesse, you're right. Maybe you're right.
Maybe
And you know
not.
what?
Maybe they both are like, no, let's get traded. I don't
Bad
know.
teams need good players too.
Yeah.
And so if you are going to rebuild properly and they are going to get a top 10 pick this year, maybe if it's number one, it'd be kind of neat for Crosby to usher the next guy in. I can see that giving him purpose. But losing the way they're losing right now, it's purposeless. You're not doing anything. You're just floundering.
Great point.
Right? Have a direction, I guess is my point.
Yeah,
And they don't
yeah.
have one except for we're going to sell Lars Eller for a third and a fifth, even though we want right now, guys.
Their direction right now are bad. They are bad. That's their direction. Fans can get behind a rebuild.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Give us a direction.
Sell me on hope or sell me on wins.
Rangers fans, right? I think it was 2014. All right, we're just kind of mid here. What are we doing? We're rebuilding. Okay, we're on board with that. And within a year, it's like, oh, we're not rebuilding anymore. We have our Temi Panarin. Oh, okay, great. That's what we're doing now. Great, cool. And now look at them. They've been pretty good for a while.
Yeah.
They've had some close calls. They've been contending. They've been in and around it, right? Penguins, they have no aspirations of being in and around it.
You're so right about just pick a direction. I think that's what they eventually need to do. And I mentioned this last week, but the Toronto Raptors right now are the greatest team of all time because the expectations are that we're gonna suck. And their record is, I think they're 2-11 right now, but they're in every game
And they're fun to watch.
It's awesome. And every game's coming down to the buzzer beater, and they're fun to watch. And the whole thing is, we suck and we want to get Cooper Flag, but at least we're competitive and we know what they are, and they're not pretending they're supposed to be a good team. It's awesome.
Brady Dix played 31 points.
It's awesome.
The other night, they played a really good team, the reigning champions, super tight, and it came down to a bad whistle and a missed call on the game-winning shot, and I'm like, it made me nostalgic. I was like, these are the Raptors I grew up with. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're right back to complaining about the whistle and everything. This is...
they have a direction this year, and they're supposed to be bad, and they're competitive bad, which is awesome. And I think fans can get behind if you have a clear plan. So hopefully the Penguins pick one, I guess, after this season, or at least at the trade deadline, because you don't want to waste an opportunity to sell if Dubas has that too. You know, if they're out of it by March or whenever the trade deadline is, I hope Dubas realizes, hey, it's probably time to sell, and I think he will.
I think
Dubas
he's smart enough.
guy.
Is Fenway Group smart enough? Dubas is very smart.
He's the president. If he doesn't, if Dubas doesn't have the freedom to do what he wants at this point, then there's other conversations to be had. Because he's the president, and they gave him $100 billion,
and he made himself the GM.
And he made himself the GM. He should have freedom to do what he wants come trade deadline. I think he's smart. Dubas is a very smart man. If he knows they're not good, he's going to sell off the pieces that he can.
I got to tell you though, Kyle's got to be smarter than this. Dude, you had an opportunity to have the blame put on somebody else, and you made yourself general manager. Are you freaking crazy? Act like a C-suiter, dude. Have somebody else do your dirty work, even though it's you that's making the ultimate decision. No, that's how it works.
It's funny.
He could have stuck around here and been one of the best assistant GMs in the league. He needed to be GM right now. And the team decided, we don't want to lose this guy. We've put years into this guy. We think he's going to be something. Let's give it to him. And they probably gave it to him too early. And then he leaves. Well, leaves. He was canned. And he goes somewhere else. And does he take a step back? Does he take time off? He gets a promotion and does not surround himself with...
He's surrounding himself with all the guys that he had here.
Yeah. And I'll do the president and GM job.
Yeah, what are you doing, man?
Not great.
You got above the GM.
I know.
That's the job you can't fail out of.
There's a way this comes across, and it's not smart.
Put somebody, that's the thing. If I could rewind it a year and a half to him and I could call him and be like, Kyle, listen, pick a GM. Find someone.
He should have given Erik Tulsky the job.
It was, man, if that was on offer, absolutely.
Was it on the table?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he interviewed him.
Oh my God.
Did we not get that report? Oh.
No, maybe he did, Jess.
Maybe the money wasn't
You
there?
know how good my memory is. I wouldn't know. But the reality of the situation is, okay, man, let someone else take the shit. That's what the GM's job.
Erik Tulsky among names interviewed for... Yeah, I didn't make that up. Erik Tulsky among names interviewed for Penguins position. That was May 16th, 2023. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a thing that happened.
If I were him,
talked to him
this offseason, I'm hiring a general manager and I'm taking my name out of the press. Because it just makes you look bad. You have to own the mistakes. Now, couple of things I want to talk about very quickly here, because we got 3 shows this week. There's some stuff I was going to put into today's show, but I'm going to move it. We'll talk a little bit more about the salary cap explosion tomorrow, because that will still be a story tomorrow. Lovely, it's evergreen. But I want to talk about a couple of incidences that are somewhat linked and the different ways that teams are playing with them. First one is JT Miller played 11 minutes last night, was benched for most of the third period. Rick Tocchet, when asked, because JT Miller has been suffering with some sort of injury all year, Rick Tocchet was asked after the game, was it injury related? And Rick Tocchet said no.
Which doesn't mean anything.
JT Miller, regardless of the injury, is a guy who from time to time needs a swift kick in the ass.
Dude.
Right? Like we say that about Willie.
Yes. That's not a horrible comparison. And
outrageously talented.
And 2 ridiculously talented offensive players who dog it defensively sometimes to the point where they have a reputation as being bad at defense, but they're actually both really good at it.
You just got to get them to do it.
You just got to get them to do it. They require... Some people are no maintenance.
Yeah.
These guys are a little bit of maintenance, but you put up with it because they're great.
Now, I get the sense the Canucks are not as dominant as I thought they were going to be to start the year, but I think they'll pull it together here.
They don't have...
Injuries and...
a lot of injuries. Petey was cold.
Yeah.
And Miller was cold. Petey's no longer cold.
Which is nice, isn't
They're
it?
coming out of it.
Yeah.
They're coming out of it.
So compare and contrast. I like what Tocchet said there, holding the guy accountable.
Great.
Charlie Rumialodius? I'm sorry, Charlie. He works for WGN Radio, and he's a Chicago Blackhawks reporter. Don't read that.
Rumeliotis.
I'm assuming.
Chuck.
Asked Taylor Hall about being healthy scratched on Saturday. And you have to remember, the Chicago Blackhawks...
They healthy Taylor Hall?
They healthy Taylor Hall.
Oh, shit.
And here's what Taylor had to say, and this is why I think Taylor Hall is going to be an Edmonton Oiler by the end of the year.
Okay.
Said, I was surprised by it.
Ooh.
It was unexpected from the standpoint of I just didn't know I was even close to being in that spot, really. If there was some conversations in the days leading up about my game, or if I was constantly being shown video, it would be one thing, but I was a bit surprised. Now, this is a guy who has played, I'm just looking up the amount of games here because it's just important, I think, that this is a guy that's played 849 games in the NHL.
He's used to being one of the best, if not the best player on the ice since he was 16 years old.
Now, he may not be anymore. That injury last year was very significant.
That injury all the time.
Yes, and
it's caught up with him.
Luke Richardson's reasoning for the healthy scratching was that he thought Taylor Hall needed more practice time because he's still kind of getting back up to speed in terms of the game of hockey and all that fun stuff. But as you mentioned, like that injury last year, he plays 10 games total, and then now he's back into the fold of everything. And I don't like the healthy scratching at all, because if I'm Richardson and I look at Taylor Hall struggling, and he plays a bit of a selfish game in that he's kind of always looking out for the points for Taylor Hall, and he's not really that effective two-way, but he's still a good player.
Yes.
Like, he's still a good player in this league and should be in that Blackhawks lineup.
Yes.
And if you're Richardson, your complaint is that he's not up to speed and needs more practice, the way he's going to get up to speed is playing NHL hockey games. He's not at the point where practice is going to help him because of the 800 games, as you mentioned, Adam, that he played before the 10 games he only played last season. He needs to get up back to speed of NHL action by playing games. And it doesn't help, in my eyes, to keep him out of the lineup. He needs to be on the ice playing games and not on the ice practicing.
I'll just say it. We don't know the truth. Like Richardson saying that, I bless you for looking at the logic of it and being like, no, this doesn't make sense. I think he's lying.
Okay.
I have a hard time believing that this coach, who played in the NHL for a long time himself, did nothing to help Taylor Hall at all. Gave him no indication. And that, you know what decision no coach in the league is making? You know what? I'm going to look at this from a developmental standpoint, and he needs to practice, and then I will play him in games. Bullshit. All 32 out of 32 head coaches are playing the best roster possible that night. No exceptions. He doesn't think Taylor Hall gives the Blackhawks the best chance to win.
That's interesting.
Which would be odd because Taylor Hall is known for being a very fit person. He doesn't think he's in shape.
6 points, 2 goals in 17
Put the phone down
games.
for just a second. I want to give you some trivia on that
Oh, okay.
because I like that. I like
Okay.
where you're going with that.
Okay.
Guys, he has one 20-goal season since his Hart Trophy year.
Yeah, I know.
What season was that?
So I did just see it. Like I saw it on my phone.
Jesse.
But I don't.
I already had it up.
Ah, shit.
I already
Okay.
know.
Was it the COVID shortened season?
It was not. It was the season after that, 21-22 with the Bruins.
Damn.
And
And it was only 20, wasn't it?
It was only 20. And then, his previous to that, you're talking about, 10 goals, 17 goals. There's a lot of injuries here. I do think Taylor Hall, just for the vibes, is going to be an Oiler by the end of the year. I really do believe that. But maybe with Jeff Skinner money coming back or something like that, if Skinner doesn't work out in Edmonton or whatever, they'll figure it out. Arvidsson, who cares? I think that there's a lot, and it's something we got to keep an eye on. There's a lot of noise around Luke Richardson in his lineup decisions. There's a lot of noise around the engagement between the locker room and the coach. I'm a fan of Luke Richardson's coaching all the way back to Montreal, but I kind of wonder if it's time for a veteran voice. I kind of wonder if this team is going to take its next steps, it's time for
Like an experienced head coach.
an experienced head coach. Doesn't have to be a crazy winner. I'm not talking about Joel Quenneville, who will come back to the NHL at some point.
Zero shot he's going to go back to Chicago.
Clearly.
Are you kidding?
But like, I'm thinking about, and not this man necessarily, but think about Bruce Boudreau when he stepped into the Canucks thing and just vibes changed.
Yeah.
You're not expecting the Blackhawks to win, but they could be more fun. They could be an entertaining product, and you're going to need Taylor Hall, who was signed to that contract, to bring it and be a huge part of the growth of Connor Bedard. And if your coach isn't communicating that, I think that's a pretty big.
I don't think Taylor Hall is going to be a Chicago Blackhawk beyond March. Like
I don't think so either.
I don't. The growth of Connor Bedard, like that's out the window. This is trade deadline fodder, is what Taylor Hall is, and they need to play him and pump and dump him. So there has to be a market for him. That should be the main goal for them. But I agree that Luke Richardson might not be the guy. He feels a little bit Peter Horacek-y in that he's the interim. Let's get to a real head coach.
The guy before the guy.
The guy before the guy portion of their rebuild.
Well, I wasn't going to go.
What is you want to say?
I wasn't going to go this way, but remember I did a giveaway or a raffle for Easter Seals, and I was like, there's Leafs tickets at stake, and there's 5 signed books at stake. I got this email from one of the winners.
I read this email.
Fun fact for you: I am a diehard Leafs fan and listen to your show all the time. Peter Horacek is my uncle.
No. Oh, poor Peter.
I won't read the rest of the email.
Is he mad at us?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
That's amazing.
Like we're not lying about the Peter Horacek years.
There seemed to be an
interim.
implication.
Half year.
There seemed to be an
half year,
implication
sorry.
that perhaps he was handed a team that wasn't that great.
Yeah, no, you got a team that sucks. Like the Blackhawks right now aren't playing well, and a lot of it's the roster construction. Some of it's Davidson as well, or Richardson. Sorry.
I do have to throw this out there though. Why is Nick Foligno a Chicago Blackhawk?
Leadership.
What do you mean?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Leadership.
Captain.
There's an opportunity here, if you're a veteran in this league, which Hall is, to make a lot of money as a Chicago Blackhawk, and your sole job is to be a good influence on Connor Bedard. And Hall isn't playing. I'll leave it there.
I think that's a fair point. Are we going to do one last quick note?
Last point on Taylor Hall.
Oh, sorry.
Nathan McKinnon was robbed of the Hart Trophy. That should have been his Hart Trophy. You look back on the history of the league in that little 15-year stretch of I guess maybe just post-lockout-ish. Nathan McKinnon should have had the Hart Trophy in that year, it would have made a lot more sense for the legacy of the league. Would have made a lot more sense at the time. He was robbed.
Yeah,
Taylor Hall shouldn't have it.
I would have given
don't-
it to
you don't-
McDavid that year, but he didn't make the
No, it was
playoffs.
Nathan McKinnon's.
You don't know. You never know.
You should have known. That's your job. You're tasked with voting for the Hart Trophy.
So you don't look bad in the future. That's why you're voting.
No, it's the history of the game. Who had the best year that season? Taylor Hall's season doesn't stand up. Nathan McKinnon's career and that season does.
No, you know what? We're not done here. 1996 Vezina Trophy, Jim the Net Detective Carrier. Are you fucking kidding me? No way. No way.
Nathan McKinnon, I am out here defending you. You deserve that Hart Trophy. Your second one. The next one.
I was about to say Nathan McKinnon doesn't care. I bet he cares so much.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he 100% does.
Last thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're not doing press conference today.
We can.
We can?
I got a couple questions.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's do
yeah.
that. The rest of it I'm saving for tomorrow. If you're mad about the thing the salary cap thing, we're going deep dive into tomorrow.
I sure
What's
hope
the
a
other
lot of
thing?
hockey happens tonight.
What's that?
What's the other thing?
Well, we were going to talk about a little bit about. So Jack Campbell was waived today, and Sam Harrison's going on IR for the Flyers. So they're just calling up one of their minor league guys. I'm like, guys, make a trade. Dude, come on, Danny.
That's depressing.
Come on. These guys are all rookies. Stop.
Need a goalie. Kolosov, by the way, one of the 5 goalies born in 2002.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we'll deep dive some of that stuff tomorrow. Let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
It's funny, we've been talking about years and timelines and everything and when people were born. We got this press conference question from Nordic before all of that happened. Nordic, I don't know how you knew we were going to talk about this today, but Nordic wrote us and said, not a question, but I want to make Steve feel old. I was born in 2007 before Steve's first season of LFR. I'm not a Leafs fan. I'm Flyers fan. But I started watching Steve in 2018 after their second loss to the Bruins.
When you were 11.
Would always tune into some of the brutal losses and when Steve would scream for 30 minutes. But now Steve is in his 18th season. I went from being a baby and Steve just raging in his dorm room to him running a business and me thinking about going to college and even being a content creator. Basically, Steve has been making LFRs from the very moment my life started.
Good Lord.
I thought that was fun.
Lord. Yeah, by season's end, LFR will be an adult. Yeah, I don't know how to process that. Thank you for your message. I don't know. Like, okay, yeah, I'm 36. I don't feel different mentally than I did when I was half my age. You know, like I think differently. I process things differently. I am more weathered person. Like I would put me up against 18-year-old me any day. I have just way more life skills. But like I still, my first instinct in a lot of situations is I would like an adult to handle this.
Right.
And oh shit, I'm like closer to 40 than not. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool, man.
I don't know how to wrap my head around that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
It's cool.
You know, one day some arrogant podcast is going to make a list of inventions from Steve Dangle's lifetime and talking about how I should probably retire.
Do you plan on podcasting as long as Cliff Fletcher decided to work in the NHL?
Absolutely not.
I got the year he started wrong too. It was even before I said he was a scout in 66 for the St. Louis Blues, the expansion team, but he worked, I think, for the Canadians before that. So he was working since like 59 or something like that.
50. How many Leafs Stanley Cups does he vividly remember?
A couple, yeah.
A lot.
He was working at the
4 or
time
5.
those happened. He was actively competing against the
Leafs.
most previous Stanley Cup winning Leafs team.
I met someone yesterday who described the Leafs' last Stanley Cup parade to me because they were there.
No way.
That's very cool.
Oh, I could listen to old people tell stories all day.
Apparently, not a lot of people went because they're like, "Oh, this is their 4th one in like 6 years. Who cares?"
No way.
Yeah.
It was the daughter. I met her first, and then a little while later, her parents arrived, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I got a bunch of their autographs on napkins." And I'm like, "Where are the napkins?" "Oh, they're in a box somewhere." I'm like, "Find the box."
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Find the magical 67 box.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you continue to do LFR, you're going to get more and more stories of this, of people being like, I wasn't born when LFR was made.
I mean, you've done 18 seasons.
That's
No,
crazy.
you put your hand down, Matt. Or no, you want to say something. I thought you were
Maddie
gonna
was trying to say she wasn't
You're not
alive.
that young. Knock it off.
No, you're around.
I was 12 when I watched my first LFR.
Wow.
There you go. All right, next question.
Oh my God.
Next question, Adam read it and laughed. Jordan wrote, Sammy revenge game on Wednesday?
Of course.
I've never been more sure of a 44 save shutout in my life.
Let's
also-
let's hope he gets the start.
Also
That'll be
worth
fun.
mentioning, the Leafs have not lost while I have been streaming them this year.
Oh, frig you.
2-0.
2-0.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
It's not. I was like, wasn't a crazy
I
streak.
think I
for a
just
month in or month and a half.
I just got above 500 for the first
Nice.
time.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Sammy's going to be dialed.
Wouldn't you be?
No, I think so.
He's also been good.
Yeah, he has.
Like-
well, they're a good team.
Yeah, oh yeah. Vegas has been great this year. Last question. This is from Sumar, I think is how you pronounce that. Is refereeing to some extent just kayfabe? Which is a wrestling term. Steve, you can explain kayfabe to everybody.
Here, I'll explain it before they continue the question.
Sure, sure.
That way. So, kayfabe is basically the reality that wrestling exists within. So, there's a story where the Undertaker is actually a real life dead man. The Undertaker is like some sort of demonic zombie creature. That's kayfabe. In real life, he's not. He's a guy from Texas named Mark.
So let's say the Undertaker goes to Comic-Con and he acts like he's a demonic dead figure. That means he went to Comic-Con and was in kayfabe. Is
Yes,
kinda-
or The Rock walks around, eyebrow up, calling everyone jabroni.
Yeah.
That's The Rock in kayfabe.
Yeah.
And then when he's not in kayfabe, he introduces himself as Dwayne and shakes your hand and goes, ha, ha, ha.
All right. So with that, Sumar asks, is refereeing to some extent just kayfabe? I think in extreme circumstances, they honestly look after the safety of players. But if they are also trying to maintain flow of play, isn't that no longer in the true spirit of refereeing?
I think you're 100% correct. There are too many times where it's, well, yeah, we don't want to interrupt with the flow of play. Like, we want to keep the game moving. Oh, okay. That's dishonest to what the game is, though. Like, the NHL and all professional sports are an entertainment product. Yes. That's how you make your money. Yes. But it's a sport.
Some leagues put the entertainment first.
WWE does that because WWE is scripted, right? So, are we having actual wrestling matches that no one's allowed to be on any kind of steroids? No one's allowed to use a steel chair. It's just honest to goodness, whoever pins whoever's shoulders to the mat first. So, is wrestling a sport in that regard? No, it's sports entertainment, right? If you're just like, no, I'm doing this for any other reason other than this guy broke the rules, you're just trying to keep the flow of the game going, you're making it sports entertainment. That's not in the spirit of sporting. When those guys go out there, they're competing to see who's the best fucking team. That's what it is.
Based on the rules that you set beforehand
Yes.
and that everybody knows and is aware of.
There is a massive rule book.
Yeah.
And I assume, I'm just a fan, but I think the point of the rule book is so you know what the rules are. And when you start going, I'm going to No. If the game takes as long as it takes.
Yep.
Yeah.
If there's
That's an excellent point.
If there's a bunch of whistles, there's a bunch of whistles. If there's a bunch of penalties, there's a bunch of penalties. Like there are there's the veteran whistle, veteran defenseman, and the thing they get away with the most, besides cross-checking, is they do not get anywhere near center ice before dumping the puck in. And that's a 100% game flow thing. And teams don't complain because everyone gets away with it. But when it's really egregious, yeah, I should be getting an offensive zone faceoff out of that. Also, you're making it so it's harder for me to change. I have to defend their counterattack differently because you're busy worrying about the flow of the game and not the integrity of it.
Yeah, or when one team takes a penalty, so then the referees look for the other team to get a penalty.
And they say it into a microphone and it gets released to the world.
Yeah. I think you nailed something there with this. It is a bit of kayfabe in that they are trying to create some sort of entertainment product instead of strictly calling it by the definition of the rule book, which is how it should be because this is sport and not sports entertainment.
So we want the flow of the game. Why do we want the game to flow? So it's more entertaining, right? Let them all do steroids.
Oh, stop.
Let them. No, what? What's the line? Let them all do steroids. Let them all use, what do we have rules about? You can't have your stick curved this much. Entertainment. Woo!
How much better would Alexander Ovechkin be if he could take steroids?
If he was 280 pounds of rhinoceros testosterone?
If he walked around like Brock Lesnar?
Yeah. Why not?
It'd be like NHL
Could he
hits
move?
back in the day.
Could he skate that well?
That guy's a pretty big draw.
Yeah.
Give him some skates. Get in there. Are you a sports league or are you sports entertainment? And there's room for both. There's room for professional sports. There's room for wrestling. I love both. You're so right. No, the flow of the game. And fuck you. Call the game. Call the game.
I have a NHL car watch, but I will save it for tomorrow. I said I had it on Friday, and now we've reached the point where I would do it, but
We'll do it tomorrow?
We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, tomorrow we'll be back, and the next day too. Lots happening on the Steve Dangle podcast this week, and don't forget, streaming Wednesday. And Steve, have you posted all those book signing things on your Instagram or Twitter or anything like that?
I have not.
Okay. So
I will.
please post that. Yay. And donate to my Movember because we're behind. I would like to do better than what we've done.
We can do better.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.